know what, Joe? We've been doing this show for over 10 years, and this show is the what?
This is the longest running, episodic, duo, healthy talk radio show in the tri-state area. But I guess we could say the world, right? KHB streams live all over the world.
In the world. And not only radio show, we're a live broadcast.
We're broadcasting.
We're like the Mike and Mike show,
Yep.
Howard Stern,
Yeah,
Joe
here we go.
Rogan, all put together. We learn from the best. And we actually won an award recently. What was the award?
The most entertaining healthy talk show on all of KHB radio.
I was starting to feel a little like Susan Lucci, Joe. We were second place many years in a row, and now we've actually come to the forefront. So we are doing the Jamie and Joe show live, and this is part of the Wine and Wellness Week virtual summit for the first time ever, Joe. What? You don't need to go to the wellness center now. You can bring the wellness center to you. Maybe you're at home. Maybe you're at work. Maybe you're in your car. Maybe you're out on the back deck getting some sun. It doesn't matter. You can watch us anywhere in the world. You just need to be able to click on to the show.
But here we go. Here it comes. We're going to start going live on the radio.
So we are live everywhere. We're live on the radio. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook, everywhere. And we are hosting the Jamie and Joe show live, Joe, for the first time at the Wine and Wellness Week virtual summit.
The virtual summit in the Spring Fling. I mean, this has started on Saturday. So we're continuing it, but we promise you today, this will be the most entertaining. Of all of the workshops you're going to see all week long, unless we come back and do a follow-up.
And we are live from Studio 109.
We are live.
Joe, Studio 109 has been around in my family for a long time.
Yeah.
And we've gone live in the bigger and better new studio. What do you think about the new studio?
I like the new digs. This is great. Folks, if you ever wondered when you're listening to us on the radio what it looked like, this is pretty much it. This is what it looks like. Except we dressed for this one.
Oh. Well, we're at least wearing clothes on the upper half,
yeah,
of course. So anywhere you are, folks, create a watch party, invite friends on. If you have any questions, of course, you can let us know. We have our beautiful host, Dr. Tracy Straub, and you got Jamie and Joe live. And Joe, we have breaking news, right?
Yeah, we sure do. I mean, you know, this show, we planned on doing this for some time, and the opportunity arose to do this simulcast. So we're going to talk about something that's very important to what's going on out there today, and also something we've been doing for a long time, and that's talking about the benefits of D3. Now, part of this is going to be on D3 and chronic degenerative disease, but part of it is also going to be about D3 and the immune system and all the latest news.
You know what? I'm glad you didn't say the V word.
That's right. Don't say it.
You heard it here first. Vitamin, formerly vitamin D3, is now termed a hormone-like substance. Yes. And it wasn't that long ago. Me and Joe have been in the field a long time. It's hard to believe because you look so young. And I don't know how you keep the hair looking so good in spite of all the salons being closed. This guy's got all the tricks. Me, I don't have to worry about it. So, Joe, vitamin D3, it was not that long ago that the upper level limits per day were 400 IUs.
Oh, I know, 400 IUs. You know, folks, if you've been coming to the Wine or Wellness Center or listening to this show, that is ancient history. 400 IUs, then they went to 800 IUs.
800.
Then they said, well, maybe you could take 1,000 IUs. But boy, have things changed.
You know what's funny? The first time I heard it was from you, Joe. I know you're a humble guy, but sometimes you got to take the credit. The first time I ever heard to take a high dose, 4 figures, and then 5 figures, was 10,000 IUs from the one and only Mr. Joe Messino. And when I heard that, the first thing people asked me were, well, what about toxicity? We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Oh, boy,
but you told me a long time ago, take 10,000
That's right.
per day.
Right. 10,000 per day keeps everything away.
Absolutely.
Can we even say 10,000 a day keeps COVID away?
Well,
I just said it. Okay.
PubMed said it.
That's
we're
right.
Get into it
we're going to get into that.
We are talking about research, folks, that's coming in real time.
Right.
April 2020, recently, PubMed released breaking new research on vitamin D levels, confirming what you, Dr. James Weiner, Dr. Edwin Lee, the first functional medicine endocrinologist, medical doctor in the country. He's actually did his residency at Pitt. He's been a part of Nutritional Frontiers since our inception. And he's a fantastic doctor. He's actually a speaker for us. He spoke at the AMMG, and he's a leading endocrinologist in the country. They all said, take these levels at 10,000 plus a day, and then get your blood work done.
Get your blood work.
Because the problem is that the range is so big.
The range is so 100. And you know, let's go back to the deficiency for a second here, folks, because I want to draw some parallels. Okay,
I'm getting excited.
You're getting excited. We got so much information. We'll try to get through it all, but I'm sure we're going to get some things that you're interested in, because look at the deficiencies here. Do you see the parallels between senior citizens? Okay, 95% of the senior citizens deficient. Who's the most at risk for COVID-19?
Wow.
All right, senior citizens. How about type 2 diabetics? 60% more deficient. They're at the top of the list for COVID-19 as well, okay? Now, children and women have the lowest levels because we've been keeping the kids indoors and spraying them with sunscreens, okay? But thankfully, the kids aren't at risk, okay? But we still need to get them in.
The problem, too, is what is defined as deficiency, right?
What is defined as a deficiency?
If the range is 30 to 100, that's a big range.
Well, we got optimal levels need to be greater than 70 nanograms.
So if they're deficient, they're below 30?
Below 30.
You know, what's interesting is that the immune system doesn't operate when levels are below 25. When I did consults at Dr. Weiner's for years, all the autoimmune patients that came in had levels as low as 7.
Oh, I mean, that's practically non-existent. That's non-existent. And it's just incredible because, you know, we call D3 the alpha nutrient. And the reason I kind of coined that term, you know, that's a joke.
Joeism.
Okay. But the reason we call it the alpha nutrient is because it's the first one that you should be getting, because it comes from the sun. It's an alpha nutrient because you got to do nothing but go out in the sun to get it. Now, that's
the problem. First of all, people are wearing clothes.
Right.
So
that blocks it.
That blocks all the fun and all the sun. See, rhyming already. So, folks, you need to have full body exposure, which sounds like a great time, for at least 30 minutes per day. But you had mentioned a really bad word, sunscreen.
Oh boy, sunscreens. Well, look, we are so deficient in D3 because we brought it upon ourselves. It's the alpha nutrient, folks, because it's the one that you should get naturally and the one that you need for hundreds of functions in the body. But what about just your immune system? Look, you can't survive without an immune system, Jamie. And the #1 nutrient to support the immune system is D3. But folks, it has to be at these levels.
Yeah, and what happened was a few years ago, they used to recommend vitamin D for brain and bones.
Yes.
And what they found, you mentioned immune system, people don't realize they found with new research, this is brand new. And in science, brand new is less than 20 years old. They found your immune cells are loaded with receptor sites for D3.
Right.
So the vitamin D has to come by as the alpha nutrient and park, like you would in a parking spot, in these receptors for your body to absorb it.
Right.
And the immune cells are loaded. That's why vitamin D1 supplement of the year.
Yeah. And when those cells are loaded like that, they prevent the an incoming invader like a virus to attach to those cells.
Absolutely. So why are we deficient? One is we're not out in the sun enough. And when we go out, everyone's covered up. Hats, sleeves, pants. I mean, you name it, right?
Yeah.
So they're covered up. Then if you're not covered up, what are they throwing on sunscreen?
Okay, so you know, these sunscreens, folks, if you haven't known by now, they're carcinogenic. They're all chemicals. You know, when you spray these chemicals or rub them into your skin, it's getting into your blood. I see these moms at pools. I hope we can go back to the pool this year, but spraying little kids, toddlers, and infants head to toe. It's going in their eyes, it's going in their nose, it's going in their mouth. But these sunscreens block the UVB rays, Jamie, and that's the rays you need to convert in your body.
Once the sunscreen's at SPF of 15 or higher, you block 99% of the D3 absorption.
You block
so when the sunscreen is a 15 or higher, you pretty much are not absorbing any D3.
You're not getting any D3.
And I mean, what do you use? You have beautiful skin, Joe. What do you use?
Just coconut oil. That's
Coconut
it.
oil,
Coconut
that's
oil.
it?
But all you got to do is moderate your time in the sun.
That's what I do.
right?
I'm starting to get a little bit of sun.
You're getting a
this
better
year,
sun
you
than
know.
I am. I'm getting
I've
jealous.
been working hard on it, you know.
But you know, when we were kids, Jamie, what happened? You got out in the sun. If you started to get a little sunburn,
Put your shirt on.
You put well, first your mother smacked you in the back of the
well.
head, right? Or threw a shoe or a wooden spoon at you if you were Italian. And then she said, go get a shirt on or get in the shade. Common sense, right? That's all.
And you would slowly go out like I do now.
Slowly
You go
get
out
it
for a
down.
little bit in the spring, you work in the yard, you cut the grass, you go for a walk, and then you go out a little more.
Exactly.
Before you know it, you ease into it. Use coconut oil. You can use aloe. I mean, there's a lot of things.
And you
can
protect
actually
from
use.
the inside out too,
Right.
with good essential fatty acids and fat soluble nutrients, folks, like vitamin A. Don't ever around us use the word toxic and vitamin in the same sentence.
No.
Okay. But what about cholesterol meds? You know how we feel about cholesterol. You know how I feel about it.
Well,
right?
why is that? Because what we were taught is that the D3 needs to be converted in the liver to the active form, correct?
That's correct.
So if you have poor liver function, fatty
Mhm.
liver, maybe you have cirrhosis of the liver, or you're on these cholesterol meds, which are directly affect liver function, right?
They directly affect liver function, and the UVB rays have to combine with the cholesterol molecule in order for it to be converted. So the less cholesterol you have in your system, the less chance you have of converting the sun's rays. It's that simple. Chlorine too, folks. You go out in the pool, chlorinated pool, or shower in chlorinated water, you're blocking the absorption. So bottom line is, you're not going to get it from the sun anymore, Jamie. We have to supplement for vitamin D3.
Absolutely. And they show that vitamin D helps with the immune system, and they can call it cancer protective. And why is that, Joe?
It's cancer protective because it increases the self-destruction of a cell. Now, when a cell mutates, it's called a senescent cell, okay? There's two things a cell can do. Die prematurely, okay, which is apoptosis, which we talk about that a lot. But the worst thing is when it mutates, that it becomes senescent, or a senescent cell is more susceptible to invasion, especially from something like cancer. So what this, with D3, the first thing it does, it increases the destruction of those senescent cells right off the bat. So that stops the spread by preventing new blood vessels from being formed. So it's a two-pronged approach here. It's going to increase the destruction of the mutated cells, but then it's going to increase what you need in your body to fight those mutated
And
cells.
that's the thing I love, is that it cools down certain parts of the cancer growth and abnormal cell growth.
Right.
And then it increases your defense, natural killer cell, macrophage, right? Interferon,
Right.
all these things are
All these
naturally
things.
raised up when you have adequate D3 levels.
Yeah, and that's your body's defense system. So think of it like this. Killer cells are like, if you go back like Jamie and I to the original video games, killer cells were like space invaders. You were firing those missiles. A killer cell is like a heat-seeking missile to attack foreign invaders. Now, a macrophage is like the old Pac-Man, okay? It goes around and eats up all of those foreign invaders. And natural interferon, I mean, that's what they do synthetically for cancer patients, right? But your body has the ability to make it itself.
That's what I love. Before we go any further, I want to remind everyone, you are listening and watching for the first time ever. I always remember you first.
Always.
The Jamie and Joe Show live, folks. And we're live not only in Pittsburgh, but we've gone global. We are everywhere in the world.
Everywhere
All
in
you
the
need to
world.
do is go on Facebook Live, khbradio.com, and you can watch in, tune in, listen, watch, whatever you want to do anywhere in the world. And the great thing is, the Jamie and Joe Show is available every Monday at 11 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And we are hosting the Wine and Wellness Week.
We sure
This is
are.
a virtual event, Spring Fling 2020. We've broken new ground with everything going on in the new world. We have decided, with the help of the Wine and Wellness Week, their team at the Wine and Wellness Center, Dr. Tracy Strout, Nutritional Frontiers. This is a complete team event. I just want to personally thank Tracy and the Wine and Wellness Center for all support for doing this activity and doing this Wellness Week. virtually and live. So if you're listening out there, folks, you can order direct from the Wine and Wellness Center. Do you need to be a patient?
Nope. All you got to do is go
You
online.
don't need to be a patient.
You don't need any stinking patience.
You just need a call. Just give them a call, 412-922-WELL, 412-922-9355. They'd be more than happy. Well, what if they got to ship it? How much does the shipping cost, Joe?
Yeah, that's a good point, because here's the exact number of shipping costs you're going to pay. $0.0.
Wow.
Absolutely
Free shipping, free training, free virtual events, everything you want. Also, we're giving out free hand sanitizers, right? Free Holistic Truth magazines. Everything is free. Anything you buy this week is on deep discounts. Give them a call. Check out their website.
Exactly.
You
You
can
can
go
order online
to
too.
drweiner.com or wineandwellnesscenter.com. So we're so excited. We're talking about D3. And is there any research on D3?
Well, you know, that's a funny question.
Everyone
You
says
should
to me,
ask that.
show me the research.
Show me the science. Show me the studies. Over 800 references in the medical literature, folks. They go back at least 12 years, maybe longer, 06, 07, when they really started to study D3. And they studied it particularly for its effect on limiting or combating cancer in the body, okay? By doing what we just told you, okay? Promoting the death of these mutated cells while increasing the body's natural defense system. Now, there was a meta-analysis. You like those, right?
Oh, I love meta-analysis.
There was a meta-analysis published in March of 2014, okay? Anticancer research, okay? That doesn't sound like, you know, some little fly-by-night publication, right? No. But breast cancer patients with higher levels of D3 twice as likely to survive. Is that important? Because what I see is the deaths for breast cancer going up every year.
It's one of the most common cancers out there. I guarantee everyone watching and listening knows at least one person,
right.
if not more. I know about 10 people that either have breast cancer actively or have survived breast cancer, and how many people we know that have actually died. And we know some people locally that we all share, right?
Yes.
And it's not a matter of, oh, if I had enough money, I can beat cancer. Bill Cowher, his wife, first wife, Katie, rest in peace, dies from breast cancer. And that was a tragedy for the Pittsburgh area, but I think everyone in the country knows who Bill Cowher is. And his wife, at a young age, she was an athlete.
Yeah.
She was an athlete in college. She was a great, great athlete and a great person locally, and she succumbed to this really horrible disease. So if you look at all the research out there, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of studies on D3.
Over 200 epidemiological studies, okay, folks. These, you know, you've heard of the term epigenetics recently, right?
Yeah.
The effect of you and your environment on your genes, okay? Well, D3 has an amazing effect on the cells in your body and on your genes in the body. So this is a great study here. A 2007 study showed that a group of menopausal women given enough D3 to raise their levels just over 40. Now, we want you to get it 70 and higher.
Yes.
But if you get it just over 40 nanograms per milliliter, you had a 77% chance reduction across the board.
Wow.
Now, not just of breast, but of all cancers.
All cancers.
All cancers. So this has cancer protective properties. And that's the key. We're not curing it. We're not diagnosing it. We're not treating it. We're just giving the body what it needs for protection. This is called functional nutrition.
And this is consistent across the board. Look at Dr. Edwin Lee's studies. He showed 75% reduction when you get levels over 60. Look at the studies from PubMed, April 2020, showed 10,000 IUs for a minimum of 3 weeks or until levels got 40 to 60 can kill off viruses, including the COVID. It's a published research study from PubMed. So this is the latest science that's out there, folks, that is consistent with everything we've seen over the last 10 plus years.
Right.
Now, you would think people would get it. In fact, they are getting it, Joe. How do we know? There's prescription vitamin D.
Oh, of course there is. Do we want it?
No.
No.
It's D2. And, you know, like Dr. Weiner told me a long time ago, you don't eat all your food in one day for the week. So you don't take all your vitamins. in one day.
Right.
But we'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
The point is that there's an overwhelming amount of research out there showing not only you need vitamin D, you need much higher levels to get your levels in the body over 40 to 60.
Mm-hmm.
And as we mentioned, optimal
Yes.
is 70 to 80 or
That's right.
higher.
Exactly. Yeah. And we don't even want to hear the word toxicity, folks. There's no such thing as vitamin D3 toxicity. How many times have you seen it, Jamie, and all the people that you've counseled over the years?
How many times
Have you seen vitamin D3 toxicity?
I mean, well, about 0.0. That's
Right.
zero.
That's zero.
That's how many people I've seen also die from vitamin toxicity.
Yes.
Zero
Yes.
over the years.
And we've learned from Dr. Michael Wald. We've learned from Dr. Val. We've learned from so many physicians, Dr. Edwin Lee, all over the country, that the reason there's no toxicity is because it's not a V word. It's not a vitamin.
Yeah.
It's a hormone.
And I've worked with Dr. Jeffrey Bland, the father of functional medicine. I mean, he created the Institute of Functional Medicine. He's been doing research since the 1970s on lifestyle therapy. He's written numerous books. He's actually presented and a speaker for over 1 million doctors in his career. You think he has some, credibility?
Some credibility,
Yeah.
just a little bit.
I mean, you talk about some of the doctors we've had. Dr. Anoop Kanodia, Masters in Public Health from Harvard. He's a medical doctor. He's a speaker at IFM. I mean, long list of doctors you've worked with, Dr. James Weiner, Dr. Tracy Straub. We've worked with all the pioneers in the industry.
Speaking of Dr. Tracy, one of the things that I've learned so much from her, but the first time I ever heard this phrase, that disease is either a toxicity or a deficiency.
I love that.
And I love that, right? Because I think that those of you listening to the radio and aren't watching the slideshow right now, we have a slide up that says, is breast cancer really a vitamin D deficiency?
Interesting.
Yeah. And now there's doctors that are putting this out there for study because they think it is. Okay. So if it's a deficiency, okay, that's going to cause disease. If there's toxins, okay, they're going to cause.
Oh, God forbid you have both.
And
right?
what if you have both?
Yeah.
Right.
And who's not toxic? I mean, you go back to 1982, the Environmental Protection Agency did a study of 33,000 people in 44 metropolitan areas. And what they did is they looked at a subcutaneous tissue from the gluteus maximus. So they took the adipose tissue, basically the fat from a butt.
Fat from your butt.
And what they found is that out of 33,000 people, 100% showed the top five toxins in their fat tissue. You think it got any better or worse since 1982?
Oh my God, since 1982, it's gotten a lot worse, folks, a lot worse. There's a lot of toxicity out there. When you combine that with a deficiency, you create a breeding ground for disease.
And I think that's where you get the, synergy of the deficiency and the toxicity together, that 1 + 1 could equal 10.
And Jamie, people will say to me, geez, this came out of nowhere. She all of a sudden developed breast cancer. And I say, nothing happens all of a sudden in your body, okay? There's this thing called chronic inflammation or silent inflammation, the silent killer. I mean, maybe you thought you were healthy, but you were microwaving your food every day for the last 10 years. Okay, or maybe
drinking water,
putting on sunscreens, all of these things, you don't see the effect that day.
A lot of people don't realize. I was at the grocery store with my daughter yesterday. She's 13. She wanted to make cucumber tomato salad. So I said, babe, get the organic. She says, what's the difference? I said, with or without bug spray. Right?
That's great. With or without bug spray. Love it.
Try and buy organic when you can.
Yes.
Try and eat real foods when you can. Drinking water, all these different things. Plus, the Wider Wellness Center offers a very unique test that can show toxicity, inflammation. Sometimes, Joe, 10 years before you'll actually have a manifestation of the disease.
Right.
What is that test and how do they do it?
That's the Zyto. The Zyto test is vibrational medicine and energy medicine at its finest. Our own Candace Corcoran is a master of the Zyto. And every wellness week, she performs it free of charge, at least 4 or 5 days a week during the Wellness Week. This week, of course, we weren't able to offer that, but hopefully in July, come Summer Splash.
Oh yeah, they also have the thermography, right?
And they have thermography,
I mean,
and they have Jeff Nisnik, who can he can muscle test you for your energy response, your body's response, and show you what toxins.
So let's remind everyone, it's the Jamie and Joe show. We are live virtually, and we've gone global, and we're so proud to be part of the Wine and Wellness Week Summit that is virtual, hosted by Nutritional Frontiers, the Wine and Wellness Center, and of course, our leader, Dr. Tracy Straub, doing an incredible job. We are so proud to be on this, not only virtual, we're also on the radio, khbradio.com.
Yes, we are.
Wine and Wellness Center, Facebook Live. We are going global, Joe. This is a long time coming, so we're so excited to be part of this. And I'm hoping that we do a good job today. Maybe they can sneak us on Saturday for the last day of the event. This event is a week-long event, the Spring Fling Wine and Wellness Week. This is great because you can be a healthcare professional, staff, patient, or just a consumer. You can be anyone, and you can watch us anywhere in the world. All you need to do is click on. We got the Wine and Wellness Center Facebook page, or we have the Wine and Wellness Center website, or khbradio.com. We're having some technical difficulties on the radio part, but hey, not the first time. We can make sure we readjust. So we're talking about breaking news in vitamin D and how important that is, not only now for the COVID-19, but what about breast cancer?
Well, I mean, look,
what about heart disease?
We've been covering breast cancer. We know it's protective against breast cancer. We know it's protective. It stops the growth of new blood vessels that are feeding these mutated cells. We know how protective it is. But, one of the other groups, as we mentioned earlier in the show, that are at high risk for the COVID-19 is diabetics, okay?
Absolutely.
Type 2 diabetics. Now, we now know that D3 reduces the risk of type 2 diabetes. There was a study, again, when they ask us, where's your science? There was an Indian study that showed D3 deficiency is directly linked to diabetes, insulin resistance. Okay, now, what did they do in this study? Look at this, every unit increase in D3, so in your blood, Jamie. So if you start testing at, say, 30 nanograms per milliliter, and you increase that by just 1 to 31, okay, you get a decrease of progression of diabetes by 8%. So if you increase that tenfold, you get an 80% decrease.
Unbelievable.
Okay?
I mean,
it's amazing how the effect it has on diabetes prevention. And then, folks, we take it even a step further, okay? A step further, look at this slide. One of the most amazing things when I was researching D3 was this, okay? Vitamin D is found to reduce the risk of type 1 diabetes. Look they studied 10,821 infants in
this. Know what I love about this
study?
2,000 IUs for an infant.
Yes, where's the toxicity?
There
isn't any.
Okay. Not only no toxicity, look at the benefit.
Look at that.
Almost 100% reduction in type 1 diabetes.
Yes, absolutely.
Just from a vitamin.
Well, just from the alpha nutrient, right?
Unbelievable.
The alpha nutrient.
That's what people
D3.
say. It's only a vitamin. Like Doc says, if food's not important, try not eating and see what happens. And folks, my doctor says, well, maybe you're going to the wrong doctor.
Yeah, it might be time to fire your doctor.
Right?
Yeah.
You need to go to somewhere like the Wine and Wellness Center. We have a whole network of doctors throughout the country. So if you're not local, they're doing telemedicine now. You can schedule with Dr. Hahnemann, Dr. Orbach, Jeff Nisnik. The only thing they can't do via telemedicine is the physical adjustment or the muscle therapy.
Right.
They can do all the nutritional, they can do all the lifestyle recommendations. All you need to do is give them a call, 412-922-WELL. That's 412-922-9355. But,
and they are seeing patients, though. Not this week, but Dr. Orbach is still seeing patients. Dr. Hahnemann's still seeing them, and Jeff Nisnik.
And they're practicing all the, they're being respectful and practicing all the social distancing and wearing the mask, and they're keeping their office pristinely clean.
Yes.
So they're doing everything you need. But, one of the things we were talking about is that this vitamin D, quote unquote, alpha nutrient, hormone-like substance. So you have these genes in your body, and some things turn them on, some things turn them off. Vitamin D will actually influence over 3,000 of the genes in your body. So think about what can it do? It turns on bone formation, it turns on brain function, and it turns on your body's ability to operate the immune system at a high level. So this hormone like alpha nutrient D3 has so many functions in the body. I don't even think they discovered them all yet.
No, every day we're finding more and more. We're going to cover something about that a little bit later. But I want you also to notice here that it's not just breast cancer, okay? Guys, prostate cancer, top of the list with D3 deficiencies. Top of the list. Everybody watching out there right now, I'm going to say this one more time. Everybody out there needs 10,000 IUs of D3 on a daily basis, now more than ever. And don't tell me it's summer, I'm going to go out and get some sun and get my D3, because here's another good clinical pearl like the one you had. You can't even get the UVB rays in this part of the country, the Northeast, until the sun is at 50 degrees in the sky. And that doesn't happen until summertime. And then once fall hits, it's too low again. So we got about 3 months where maybe you can get it from the sun.
And you know what the beauty is? It's so easy to take. Nutritional Frontiers is D3 liquid. It's in our Omega 3D soft gels. We have it in a capsule. It's so easy to take, and it costs you less than 50 cents a day to get these therapeutic levels. There's no excuse not to take it anymore.
No, there's no excuse. I mean, look at this. This is what in 2011, James,
10 years ago.
10 years ago, they said, maybe you do now need a little bit more, about 8,000 IUs daily to get your levels up only above 40. We don't want we don't want 40. We want 50 to 70. We want 70 to 80 nanograms per milliliter. But folks, to do that, what do you have to do first, Jamie? You got to find out where you're starting.
Absolutely. And hey, you know what? If you don't know, you just don't know. You need to get tested.
Yeah.
You know, I've been tested probably every 3 to 6 months now. My levels at one point were around 39. I've got them almost at 70 on my last blood work, and I'm sure I'll get them at 80 mark pretty soon.
Absolutely.
It does take time. And what I found is it's dose responsive, right?
It is dose responsive. And so, let's go back to the hormone versus vitamin thing for a second too. Okay, which is why my favorite formulation and delivery method is the Sunshine D3 liquid.
Me too.
Right?
When I started taking the liquid, my levels went up.
Went up a lot faster. Now, folks, you can get your levels up in a soft gel. You can get your levels up in a capsule if you combine it with vitamin A and vitamin D. K2, right? Because there's good cofactors there. But when you're taking D3 by itself, the fastest way to get your serum levels up is through a liquid formulation. And that goes back to the hormone versus vitamin, because hormones are not well absorbed in the gut.
Did you say liquid?
Liquid.
How's it taste?
It's delicious. It's delicious. There's no taste. Absolutely neutral. Clear liquid, absolutely neutral. Kids, everybody. I've had, we talk about my granddaughter all the time. I've had her on D3 liquid from the day she was born, the day she came home, and she still takes it to this day, and she's as healthy as can be. But that's what we need, folks, because it is more like a hormone, which means it'll absorb better in the mucous membrane of the mouth than it will in the gut. So right now, get those levels up, get that D3 liquid, because you're going to absorb a whole lot more.
Absolutely. I know so many people are looking for this vaccination for the COVID. But what about the flu shot? I remember a couple of years ago, Dr. Warner had this debate going, and the article in the paper said almost half the kids weren't vaccinated. He says, well, that means more than half were.
That's right.
Right? So if everyone's that concerned and supportive of the vaccination or the flu shot or whatever you guys are into, think about how many people get that flu shot. The last time I got it, you remember?
Yeah.
1993.
Sick.
And I was sick as a dog, right?
Yeah.
Now, you got to make your personal decisions what work best for you and your family. However, I know from personal experience, right? I haven't been sick in a long time.
Now I just want to say, it's not just about fortifying your body with high levels of vitamin D, but like we show here, vitamin D deficiency actually can cause you to be more susceptible to getting the flu in the first place. So from both
That's
ends.
always my point. I'm like, look, it's not an either or. You
No.
don't do medicine or supplementation. You could do both. You got to pick and choose and be empowered, and then that way you can make an informed, educated decision. But when you look at all the different studies out there, it is overwhelming that people at lowest vitamin D levels have significantly more colds,
Yes.
flus, and all diseases. When when we had that slide that has all the different diseases, neurological, the vitamin D deficiency raises your risk, fractures, right, raise your risk, cardiovascular issues, raises your risk, blood sugar, I mean, your immune function, you go right down the list, they all have cofactors of low vitamin D levels.
Yes, absolutely. All have cofactors.
So why wouldn't people take it? Is there any reason?
There's no reason not to
Other than
accept
ignorance.
ignorance. That's the only reason. We're going to call a spade a spade. It's ignorance. And we're all we're talking about. A lot of times people just aren't privy to this type of information. So now you have a chance to get this information.
And
like
that's why we're doing
before.
this. Want
That's
to
why
let
we're
everyone
doing
know again, it's the Jamie and Joe Show, and we are live at the Wine and Wellness Week Spring Fling 2020 virtual edition. These are wellness events put on at the late great International Icons Wine and Wellness Center, now running at a top level with technology, run by the leadership of Dr. Gideon Orbach, Dr. Joseph Hahnemann. You got Jeff Niznik, Dr. Adam, the entire team down there. We want to personally thank them and thank, of course, our fearless leader, Dr. Tracy Strout, for putting on this event virtually, because now, I was at the event on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Someone came by and she said, with the mask on, she was doing a pickup, because they are doing pickup. She says, thanks so much for having this event and for having the workshops online. She says, because I don't always get a chance to come down here and see them, and now I can watch all of them.
Yeah, you don't have to pick and choose. You can see them all.
So if you need anything, you can still order this week. They're doing free shipping. All you need to do is let your fingers do the walking. Call 412-922-WELL. That's 412-922-9355. You go on their website, wineandwellnesscenter.com or drjamesweiner.com. Either way, they can help you out. If you have any other questions, let us know in Nutritional Frontiers and we can direct you down there. But the fantastic thing is that now you can participate with all the workshops, look at the schedule, pick and choose the one. We have a special one coming up here at noon today. Spoiler alert, get Joe. Tell them about it.
We got our first panel discussion. Folks, it's something we've been wanting to do for a long time at the Wellness Weeks, and that's have a panel discussion with more than one person, right? 3 to 4 or 5 people. Well, we got 3 people today on this panel discussion. And this is going to be amazing because it's myself, it's Dr. Orbach, it's Jeff Niznik on this panel discussion. I'm going to moderate. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, wow.
Okay. But I mean, to get these 2 guys on together, we're going to just talk about what's going on in the world, health. Call in or type in your questions on the presentation on Facebook Live, and we'll answer them for you. But this is the first ever, and Monday, Wednesday, and Friday this week, we got 3 panel discussions going on. I'm moderating this one. You're doing
Am
one.
I on next? Oh, I didn't make the first one, but I made the cut this
But
week.
you can stay, though. You don't have to go anywhere. You want to
know.
stay for this one?
Hey, I've been on the Crasher party too. Who am I not to crash,
Hey, I want to get one more thing out about D3 because this is some breaking news, folks. I mean, we did find that, first of all, this is a study that took place just about a year or so ago. They found that people with vitamin D deficiency, okay, their risk of respiratory infection went up 50%. Now, respiratory infection, are we seeing that right now?
Oh,
what is
God.
this COVID thing out there? It's a respiratory infection. This is directly related to it. And the more you take of vitamin D, or the more deficient you were, and then you add it in, okay, it benefits you even more because you were so deficient. Now, one more thing. This is something I know you love.
Oh.
Because Jamie, we talk so much about what is the most deficient mineral that we're faced with today. magnesium.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, take a look at this. Okay, a lot of people are finding they can't get their vitamin D levels up. They just can't get it up, Jamie. And the reason, because insufficient magnesium levels.
Well, it's interesting because I know Nutritional Frontier's #1 formula is magnesium.
Yeah,
I can still hear Dr. Weiner talking. You need magnesium. UPMC, University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, right? This is 2016 in the newspaper. I still read the newspaper. This was the day before Thanksgiving, 2016. They wrote an article, Dr. Glick was in there, and they wrote an article about magnesium deficiency being the most efficient mineral and nutrient in the world. #2 is D3, and then essential fatty acids, omega-3s. So magnesium deficiency and vitamin D, and they correlated with, now this is a medical institution, correlated with all the chronic conditions, including cardiovascular disease, hypertension, diabetes, right? Osteoarthritis and osteoporosis, all showing the connection with magnesium deficiency and vitamin D deficiency. Interesting enough is that those are some of the top formulations at Nutritional Frontiers. They are super inexpensive. Do not buy your vitamins, folks, from a grocery store or a chain vitamin shop. And even worse, don't go to Dr. Google or Amazon. Are they putting on events like this, Joe?
No, there's only one place you can get an event like this, right?
You can buy vitamins from anywhere, but how do you change your health? You have to work with people that do this full-time and provide the education like we do, and the team at the Weiner Wellness Center. And the research is overwhelming, but you need somebody to help you. Just as if I was looking for help on a computer, I'd go to somebody who's an expert. How much experience in the field do you have?
Well, over 2 decades, a little over. I'm not going to say exactly because I don't even remember. Over 2 decades, I know this thing, 20 plus years.
I got 29 years, but who's counting, right?
Counting.
It's hard to believe because we look so young.
Yeah, of course.
But we did start in grade school, so, you know. But we've been at this a long time, folks. We take a lot of pride in it. We love the opportunity to help. And the only thing we ask is if you like what we're doing is share and do a watch party on Facebook.
Yep.
Share the schedule with somebody. And the great thing is they can be anywhere in the world now. They don't need to be in the Pittsburgh area to pop over to the Wellness Center. How do you order? If you want to order any products, and it's not just Nutritional Frontiers vitamins. What are some of your favorite products at the Weiner Wellness Center?
Well, you know, I talked a little bit earlier about chlorine and how it blocks the absorption of the UVB rays and vitamin D. So why not go down there? Why not order one of the shower filters that blocks the chlorine? I mean, you've got chlorine pounding you on a daily basis in hot water, so it gets through your skin, and you wonder why you can't absorb vitamin D and why do you have skin issues, right? Well, get rid of the chlorine. It's one of the top 3 toxins along with fluoride and bromide. Get rid of that chlorine with one of the shower filters.
And one of my favorite things down there, of course, other than the snack bars, is that they have a incredible library of books. I like to read books, right? Got books all in my office here, all over the office. And one of my favorite books is by Timothy O'Shea. Vaccination is not immunization.
Yeah, that's a great book.
Over 300 published research references.
Yeah.
And I love that book because Dr. Weiner, I could still hear him talking to me about it, saying, become educated. And something that's really interesting about that book, they showed before 9/11, you'd only get 20 shots. Now it's over 85 for a kid. So how did we go from 20 to 85? When I was a kid, I think it was 12, right?
And when I was, it was 3.
Yeah, so you know, going back a couple of years. So folks, become educated, have a strategy and plan for you and your family. And you want to take advantage of the Weiner Wellness Center, give them a call, 412-922-WELL, 412-922-9355. And they're offering free shipping, no minimums, no maximums. You can call them right now. They have a full team down there working really hard to make sure they can give you guys the gift of health. So, Joe, I know we had a few minutes left. There's so much to cover in so little time.
So much to cover, so little time. We started this off talking about neurodegenerative diseases, and there was an actual study. I know you didn't hear about it because it wasn't published in mainstream media, okay, or in your doctor's office.
If it was, it would be deleted, right?
It would have been deleted probably. But this study This was a very vast, profound study. There it is up on your screen right there. Okay, this was published in November of 2017, so it's already 3 years old. Okay, but what they found, and they're looking at things to prevent, they're looking at things to protect against neurodegenerative diseases. Now, what are those? Well, Parkinson's,
Yeah. That's a bad one.
multiple sclerosis,
Alzheimer's.
okay, Alzheimer's, all neurodegenerative diseases, folks. And one of my favorites, this one is a good one, Jamie. This is a mouthful too. Neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorders. Well, look, folks.
NMOSD.
There it is. That's the one, right? You know why? Because this is about your eye health. Your eye health, D3 and eye health, we don't even talk about that. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, we all know people in our family and friends that have been affected by this. But we're talking about vitamin D in the prevention and the treatment of these neurodegenerative diseases. That's what I love about it, because it can work at both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, and the research is overwhelming.
Oh, God.
Now really what we're going to do is talk about in the last few minutes is how much do you need a day? How do you take it? What age groups? We feel very confident that you need to make sure you get your blood work tested.
Yeah,
right?
25 OHD is the name of the test.
And the great thing is you don't need to give any more blood. This is already on the blood work you're getting done. If you're not getting blood work done, I highly recommend you do it at least once per year. What do you think?
I would say every 6 months. Yeah, I would try to do it every 6 months, because then you give yourself a good 6 months to supplement and get those levels up and get a good barometer.
Yeah, if you have any health issues, maybe you get every 3 months for a period of time. But get your levels tested, get your D3 levels tested. And regardless of what they tell you, make sure you get a copy, and then you can look at it versus our research and see what level do you really want. Not to be in the normal ranges, Joe. Who wants to be normal?
No,
We want to be optimal. And optimal for D3 is a minimum of 60, but we like that 70 to 80 mark all the way up to 100.
Yeah, all disease state goes down.
They've proven now that it's safe to do 10,000 IUs a day.
That's right. Well, he scooped me on this one. I usually find the D3 studies, but Jamie found this one first. Go ahead, tell him. PubMed. Oh.
PubMed, April 2nd, 2020. That was right around the corner. It was recent, last month. Proven what we've been saying all along. It's been proven now that you need 10,000 IUs a day. And they actually did the study. They want to see a couple things, Joe. One, how much D3 a day did you need to get the levels above 40 to 60?
Right.
One. Why 40 to 60? That's where they start to see the immune system starting to optimize.
Mm-hmm.
That's number two. Number three was, what were they looking for to fight against? COVID-19 virus.
Yeah.
And they found the conclusion of the study was a couple things. One, you need at least 10,000 per day for a minimum of 3 weeks to get those levels at 40 to 60. It actually is very effective at preventing the virus from attaching and invading the host. And we're the host, because the virus can't live without a host. Third part was even better. You're going to love this part. They said if you are sick with the COVID-19 virus or anything else, you can take dramatically higher dosages for a period of time.
Wow.
20, 30, 40,000?
Yes, absolutely. And we've heard up to 200,000 for a severe case, an acute case of some sort of flu, infection, virus, bacteria, whatever.
And you just reminded me, so I have this old study a few years back, but Canada and India would actually give an injection of vitamin D, you ready? Drum roll. Of 600,000 IUs once a year instead of the flu shot.
Ah, hallelujah.
Wow, 600,000 at once.
Wow.
That's a big
that's
dose.
A big dose.
And guess what they found?
No flu?
No flu, no side effects, no disease, nothing.
Right.
Super safe and effective. So excellent.
All right. That's it. Bottom line. Get your D.
Hey. All right.
Hey, we have questions.
We do.
What?
We have questions, so I had to jump in on you two.
All right.
I'll tell
Come
you
on,
what.
you can jump in on us.
All right, both you settle down. Okay. I'm glad I was muted because I was cracking up through half of this.
Doesn't she have a beautiful smile, Joe?
Oh,
We get so
I know,
lucky
look at
to get
It's
to
all
see
that
her.
D3.
And she looks so good in the hat, too.
Well, it's only because my hair is so bad. So this is the D3 that I take, right? The
Yes.
Sunshine Liquid. I was taking it
Sunshine
as you
D3
were
liquid.
talking. And I took 3 dropperfuls in case anybody was wondering.
What do you just swallow it right down?
I hate
No, it tastes so good. You know,
It's
Tastes so good,
delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. It tastes great and it's less filling, I
Yeah.
have to say. All right.
strong
So
enough for a man and safe for a woman.
that's right. I could not figure that out the other day. I was like, what was that commercial? All right. Is there a particular form of magnesium that is most beneficial to optimize D3 absorption?
Absolutely. So with magnesium, we want chelated magnesium. And what that means is attached to a protein. Proteins ends in INE. So magnesium glycinate, taurate, we even like malate, citrate. Just do not take magnesium oxide.
Right.
All right. Nutritional Frontiers has Mag Complete, which has been a top formula at the Weiner Wellness Center, created by Dr. Weiner and myself. And Joe Messino. Mag Complete 300. We also have Mag Citrate. Those are 2 really good forms. Do not take magnesium oxide.
Okay. And is that because it strips the colon of good probiotics and can cause that secondary issue? Or is there
The
more
oxide?
to it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oxide is definitely.
And you don't absorb oxide.
You can't absorb
Yeah.
it. All it can do is harm.
They absorb between 1% and 8%. So magnesium oxide, calcium carbonate, zinc oxides, all these oxide and carbonates do not absorb well, folks. If you have questions, you can always ask us. We do free nutritional reviews during the wellness weeks where we can look at products and help you read labels. That's one of my workshops.
Mm-hmm. So the other one was, people were really surprised by the fact of no toxicity with D3. Can you explain the difference between D2 and D3 and where those toxic levels came from that scared the whole world?
Oh, good question. Okay, first of all, D2 is a synthetic version. It's one that they use in the pharmaceutical side, so it's not natural. It will not absorb well, if at all. So
yeah,
D3
if
is
you're
natural.
looking at the name D2, you'll see ergo, ERGO,
Right.
ergocalciferol.
Not choline.
D3 is chole, right? So ergo versus chole, D2 versus D3. D3 absorbs over 30% more effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a caveat. If somebody wanted a vegetarian version of D, that's where D2 would come into place.
Now, as far as these toxicity things, okay, this goes back.
Where'd this come from?
Where it all started, I think, back with a study that was done with smokers and vitamin A long time ago. And it was a flawed study to begin with, but they found that there was a problem if you smoked and took vitamin A. Well, first of all, what did they say? Don't take vitamin A. Well, I say don't smoke. Okay, take the vitamin A.
Is this study done by the same group that once said smoking was healthy and your doctor recommends certain brands?
The brand your doctor recommends most.
Right.
Yes. Right.
And Joe, touch on K2 as well when you're getting down this rabbit hole.
Because we have this formula Super K2 Plus because you need to have these 3 nutrients, K2, vitamin A, and D3. You need all 3 of them, okay, because they work so synergistically in, first of all, number one, making sure calcium gets into the bones and teeth and stays out of the blood. Now, when you keep it out of the blood, you prevent atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries. When you drive it into the bones, with vitamin K2 will make sure it does, you prevent osteoporosis. So 2 things that are on the rise, atherosclerosis and osteoporosis can be prevented by using vitamin K2. And it works best when it's in conjunction with D3 and A, because one helps get rid of old bone tissue, the other helps build new bone tissue. They work so well. And then, I know what you're getting at, you want to decalcify that pineal gland, the best way to do it is vitamin K2.
Right. And the pineal gland is?
Your 6th sense, your 3rd eye, where you're getting all that inspiration from.
And why is it getting calcified, Joe? Because of all this?
It's getting calcified, yes, from fluoride, chloride, and bromide, the 3 toxins we mentioned earlier, okay? Now, vitamin D, it's not a vitamin, okay? So even if it was true that you could get too much of a fat-soluble vitamin, it doesn't apply here because it's not a vitamin.
Yeah, I think that's one of the other parts that's misunderstood. Being that it's a fat-soluble vitamin, A, D, E, and K, they feel that you can build these up in your body, which you can. But to get to the levels that would be even close to a toxic level, we've never seen anybody come close to those levels. And if you get your blood work done and you're not above 120 to 150, you have nothing to worry about. How many people have you seen levels over 120?
No. I mean, I think we've heard of one in 10 years at the Weiner Wellness Center.
Over 100 is 102.
Yeah.
Nobody over 150.
No.
And I've worked under Dr. Jeffrey Bland and Lenny Goldberg at Metagenics, and they says, look, show me one study where someone had vitamin D toxicity. I'm still waiting for that study.
Most of those studies are done on people that aren't healthy. And also we have to look at the health of the lymphatic system, which is controlling our absorption and assimilation of fat-soluble vitamins. And most people that have these studies done, they don't have optimal lymphatic systems.
Let's be more concerned with trans fats.
That's right. Yeah.
And the 700,000 people a year that die from heart disease.
Yeah, and eating a fried chicken sandwich where the bun is 2 glazed donuts. Yeah, let's worry a little bit more about that. Let's go back to vitamin A for a quick second.
But those are who all the studies are done on. We should follow those models. All right. So should you take your D with food, or what is best? What's the best way to?
With liquid D3, it doesn't matter.
I take it every morning. First thing I do as part of my morning routine is my probiotic, my liquid D3. Boom.
And it's getting absorbed in the mouth. We're not going through the digestive system. It doesn't need to be taken with food. Can it be? Sure. Just take it. Okay, but go back to vitamin A for a second, because what is the most deficient vitamin in things like measles, mumps, chicken pox, all these contagion diseases or infections, not diseases.
Right.
I know.
Well, they're all envelope viruses as well. So,
yes.
All right. So I'm just going through. Yep. Stan, good point. Fluoride, chloride, bromide. So Nellie has a question. K2 mostly from coconut oil? Question mark. Yes. No?
We use a brand of K2 that's called MK7. That's it's got the most studied, and it's the most
it's the most absorbable.
Yeah, most absorbable.
And the other thing is stability, right? Because we used other K2s in the past when we were testing them. They were coming between 40 and 60%. The Vita MK7 that we use at Nutritional Frontiers and the Super K2 Plus is 99.9% bioavailable and stable, which is the key part, because if you're buying a cheap K2, you get what you pay for.
That is true.
The only really good food source is naturally fermented foods, like if you make your own sauerkraut, but who does that? Let's get it in MK7.
I had sauerkraut yesterday.
I make my own. No. It's not as hard as people think, but yeah, most people are not fermenting on their counter. So some of these things we do have to supplement, especially fermented foods. I don't know a lot of kombucha makers or people that are fermenting yogurt. So
we don't live by food alone, Tracy.
That's right. We need some supplements in there too. Well, this has been great. We now have the round table. So I just want to say thank you both for being on. Great show, entertaining as well as informative. So the link to the roundtable is posted on the Weiner Wellness page. Go and click into it. You'll be able to come in live, join the panel experts, and ask questions via chat box. Potential for 500 people to be in this room. So get in there and get your seat.
One last question. Are you available Saturday, Joe?
I'm available.
I'm available. If you need anybody to fill in Saturday.
I do have a 9 o'clock slot open if you guys would like to jump in there.
We'll take it.
9 o'clock? Hey, we'll be ready.
We'll take it.
All right. We'll take it.
Thank you,
okay, guys. We'll see you. Round tables next. Okay.